Okay. So this is the optional parameters. And optional parameters, it must be at the end. And
Yes.
the values, you should give some default value. Okay.
Yeah. We have that concept in C++ also, like default parameters.
Default parameters are there. Here we used to say, you can say default values are optional parameters. Okay.
Okay.
So this is one thing. And we have in C++ as well, we have, I think, by value, by refer,
By reference.
right?
Yes.
Do we have that in C++?
Yes, sir, I know that. All the valid algorithm.
So if we pass like this, if we have the function with the parameters like this is called by value.
All by value.
Okay. By value in the sense, it is completely local. It will it just, okay.
That will not affect the actual parameters, original parameters. It will be doing.
If you make some changes here to these parameters, for example, A and B, you are passing 10 and 20, and inside that you made some changes, right? And after the function, if you call, for example, like this, I'm calling this one here in the test method, test one. What I am doing here, get salary. So get salary is the function. Sorry, 10 comma 20. Before that, I will assign int A equals to 20, int B equals to 30. Do you have this intelligence? Okay. Right. So I am passing A comma B. Okay. Now here printing statement, what we are going to use is to print something on the console. We'll use console dot write line. I'll tell this one also. Okay. So here to print something on the console, we'll use console dot write line statement. Okay. Okay. I'm writing the same thing inside the function. Okay. Here I'm making change A equals to A plus 5, B equals to B plus 5, A equals to C plus 5. Okay. I'm making some change. Whatever the value I got in these variables, I'm making the change. And I'm printing here. Okay. Clear? Is it clear what I'm trying to say here?
Yes.
Okay. Now, sorry, here itself. I made the changes in this function to these two variables. 3 variables, I made the change. After that, I am trying to print what is the A and what is the B.
And the first function A is 20, B 30. In the second function, A is 25, B is 35.
First function means
Avoid test one.
here,
Test one
when I
function.
am executing this, what is the value you will get?
When you execute this get salary hike, inside this function, A value is incremented plus 5, right? So A is 25, B is 35.
Okay.
But after coming out of this function, the values is doing by call by value, so it is not reflect in the actual values. So
Yes,
the
because
values will be again 30.
very good.
It will not, changes will not reflect in the original value.
Yeah, because those parameters are by value.
Yes.
Okay. So it is very, very important, especially in C sharp. As a tester, they will ask this question. What is the difference between by val and by reference? Okay. Now, by ref. This is very, very important. They will ask you. Okay. So, now tell me.
The A value, when you call the get salary hike, A value will be 25 and B value will be 35. And after that also the console dot write line, that will be again 25 and 35
It
because
will carry out the changes to the net
because
client. Because
they work on address of the A and B. So we getting copied into the direct address.
yes, that is true. Right. So this is by ref. And we have another type. Out. Okay. Out parameter.
Okay.
Did you heard that?
No, sir.
Okay. Let me see. Here, the same function. This time, instead of saying ref, I am saying out. Okay. So here I am giving some name. Hike out. Okay. Okay. This time, right? What is the difference here? It is very similar to reference only. This is also it is also based on the address. Okay. It will store the data in address and it will carry it out. Okay. But here only difference is this is the only difference between out and ref parameter. Here in case of ref, what you did? Initially you initialize the values. Okay. In case of out, you must initialize the values for these variables first. So even though I did here, it won't work. First, you need to assign some values for A inside the function. A equals to 5. B equals to 10. Okay. Got it? This is the major difference. Here, in case of ref, you must assign the values before calling that function. Oh, sorry. You must assign the values before calling this function. And the changes will be carried out after the function call itself. Outside of the function call itself. Okay. Whereas in out parameter, you must initialize the values for these variables. You must initialize the values inside the function, not outside of the function. It won't worry if you didn't if you declare it's okay, but you must initialize it locally also inside the function. That is the major difference.
Okay.
For example, here ABC, okay, you must have out. Okay, so even though if you comment this one, I'll put out because it doesn't require. Variables you must assignment is not required. Assignment must be required for this one. What is this? Unused. Why it is saying unused? Unused. It is not there. Huh? Okay. So focus here. Okay. So here it is not giving any problem. But here, in case of this, you must assign the values. Okay. Got it? That is the major difference. Here, in case of this, there is no need to initialize the values inside the function. In case of out, you must assign the values inside the function. And the change, it will carry it out the next. Just like reference, there is no difference except this one. Okay? Clear? Prashanti, are you there?
Sir, yes, sir. Are
Okay.
you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
It is clear, right? Major difference is very, very important interview question. They will ask you this one. Okay. What is and the next thing coming to methods, right? So this already you know. What is this concept?
So call by value and call by reference.
No, not that one. See here, method name same. This one also gets salary hike. This one also gets salary hike.
Function overloading.
Method overloading, function overloading, method overloading. So that you already know, right?
Yes,
so what is constructor? So we are done with the functions now. So what is constructor? Do you know? You must know, right?
Place the values of the data members class.
Can you tell me once again?
So when you create an object, it will invoke the constructor. The constructor will initialize the values of the data members.
Very good. Okay, but how you can say it is constructor? There is one indication is there, right? Two differences should be there. It is with the class name. Your voice is breaking. Might be, I am not sure why. Okay, that you know, right?
Yes, sir, I know that.
Okay, so I'm not going to discuss once again. The same constructor should be there. Constructors, parameterized constructor, without parameter constructor, deval constructor is there. And the public constructor, private constructor. Okay? Okay, constructor, you can give the access modifier, right?
Yes.
Access modifier, private access modifier. What will happen if we have given the constructor as private?
Usually, in C++, we use private constructor only in case of dynamic memory, whatever allocated dynamically. That memory free up things, if you want to confirm, then only we will define constructor as private. Otherwise, we usually prefer for public.
What will happen if I make constructor is private?
We cannot access outside this class, right?
Means you cannot create the object.
Okay.
Right. So for example, I made this for example, this is my class, right? Public. I will say private test1, test1. Okay, this is my constructor. Right? Now this is my constructor. Now, if I am trying to create the object, see here.
Okay.
It will say you cannot create the object. Why? Because due to the protection level, because you created it is private. Private in the sense it cannot be accessed outside. Right? So that is one thing.
Okay.
So constructors, those are the constructors. Everything you know. All right. Very good. So we discussed about the constructors. Okay, purpose of the constructor, you know, to initialize the initial values, and at the same time, if you want to pass some dependencies, right? For example, you are depending on one particular class, that dependency, how you can pass through the constructor, right? That is the dependency injection pattern. You might be aware. Dependency injection pattern. right?
Can you explain about that, sir? Dependency injection?
Yeah, okay. So for example, take it, we are discussing about the constructor. Let's take
Ah,
constructor only, right? Public
yes.
tests is my constructor. Tests
Okay.
one
Mm.
is my constructor,
Okay.
right? This is my constructor. Now I have one more class. And we have containers, all those things we'll discuss later. But I will just explain what is the dependency injection.
Okay.
What I am doing, okay. So employee class is there.
Mm.
So in employee class, I have some functions.
Mm.
It might,
Okay.
must be public. Okay. What is this concept? Can you tell me?
Default parameter.
A constructor,
Default parameter is constructor with single parameter and double parameters.
what we can say? This concept totally.
Constructor overloading.
It is possible, right? Very,
Yes.
very important interview question, this one. Is
Yes.
constructor overloading is possible? Yes, constructor overloading
Yes.
is possible. Constructor overriding. Do you know what is method overriding?
Yes. The same method will be there in base and derived class, but the base class, if
Very good,
doesn't,
yes.
derived class want to define something different, then it can define it.
Very good.
Define.
The same thing. Constructor overriding is possible?
Yes.
Possible.
I.
Constructor
No, no, no.
overriding.
The method overriding is possible. Constructor we
Hmm.
cannot.
Why?
Cannot.
Because when it is going in other class, for example, this is going, you are trying to override in the test program or something here,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
You can say public. It is, this is normally overriding, right? But
Okay.
it won't be a constructor, right? Constructor in the sense class name and function name must be same. But here,
Mm.
class name and constructor name, constructor name not same, right? That's where overriding is not possible. Okay, so that is one very important. Okay, for you, it doesn't require to tell. Okay, you are super fast. Okay,
Okay, sir.
but just practice these things. Syntaxes, everything would be different. Okay,
Uh,
it would be
yeah, that's
easy
what I.
while discussing the
Uh,
topics, but syntactically some differences would be there.
Correct. Correct, sir.
Okay, now we are good here.
Mm.
What we are discussing, dependency injection, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
now I have some function called public void get emp details. Okay, you are doing something.
Mm.
And okay, something you are doing here. Okay, don't worry about the internal code. Right? Now,
Mm.
this class, okay, this
Mm.
class wants that function. In employees class, in employees, we have some get employee details function.
Okay.
Okay,
Mm.
this is not my focus.
Okay. Mm.
Okay. Now I want to access this one. What is, how you are going to access that method? Employee class,
We
it
will.
has, uh,
We will define the class itself first. As a friend class, we will define. Usually in C++, we will define that class.
no,
Class name here.
it is not my friend class. I am not going to inherit that. Okay, that is one approach.
Okay.
I'm not denying that. Okay, that is inheritance,
Okay.
right? You are making a one friend class and you are inheriting that and you are getting the member. Okay, but
Um,
I am not, I don't know, I'm not interested in inheritance concept. Okay, now how you can access that member? I have employee class.
Fine.
No, you know that, but this is employee class. Okay, I have one function. I want to use this function here in this method. How do I do?
Usually you have to create object for that employee class, but as
Creating
of
the
now we
object,
cannot
right?
access that employee class here, right?
Uh, why
We
you
don't have
cannot
right.
access? Why? It is public.
Okay.
It is public. You can access.
But usually if you define something, we will
Hmm.
include that file here, but here that file definition is not there, right? So that's what I'm thinking. Okay.
So it is tightly coupled.
Mm.
This approach is tightly coupled. For example, some change, you change some name. Once again, you need to change the function here, right?
Okay.
Normally, people will do like this. Create wherever some function is required, they will create the object here wherever
Okay.
it is required, or they will create the object here and they will use that
Okay.
object wherever it is required.
Okay.
Okay. So this
This
is my
one.
dependency, right? So how you can get
Okay.
this dependency? Through the constructor.
Okay.
So I am injecting the dependency. Okay. This dot employee. Okay. I am injecting the dependencies through the constructor. So now this employee object would be created and you will get it. And especially in C# and spec flow, we have the container. I didn't created the object here. I passed. I didn't pass, right? But defaultly, there is one body container would be there. In as part of the dependency injection, did you heard any time containers? Unity container.
No.
In C# we used to have unity container. In automation testing, we have body container. What it will do, it will create the object for you. Normally, how you need to do? Equals to new of employee class. Like this we will do, right? So here we are not doing that. Just we are simply, okay, somebody, the container is created that object. I am passing that created object to my local variable. This is my local variable.
Okay.
Okay, that's how I got this one. So this is called dependency injection using containers. Okay, so we discussed dependency injection as well. Constructor, main topic is constructors.
Okay.
So the purpose of the constructor is to initialize the values. That value would be simply we are initializing some local variables or we are passing the dependencies from somewhere. We are getting my class is dependent on some other class. So that dependency I'm passing through the constructor. This is one of the design pattern we used to call, very simple. This design pattern name itself dependency injection pattern. Right? The main advantage of this one is it will help you to provide the loose coupling between one class to another class. So the advantage of loose coupling, what is the advantage of loose coupling?
Can access the other members of the
For
class.
example, this class is not ready. You are a developer, right? So you are depending on some function.
Okay.
At the time that function is not ready. What you will do? You will mark some, you create one more class with marked data and that class will inject here.
Okay.
When
Okay.
it is loosely coupled.
Okay.
If it is tightly coupled, you cannot do. Right? So mainly dependency injection will use like this. Okay. But don't worry about dependency injection, all those things. In testing, people won't ask that much.
Okay.
Design patterns, they don't ask.